coming to our part of New Jersey. Thank you to Peter and Thierry from Bell Labs for the amazing tour that you just gave us, Commissioner Kowalski, members of my high school youth advisory committee who will be running this place in a few years. I just wanted to show you your new digs. So welcome. This is of course an extraordinary place with amazing history as well as an amazing future. We heard about all of the products and innovations that came from just this place, from the transistor to satellite communications to fiber optics. We heard about the Nobel Prizes and the Turing Awards. It's also a fact that Bell Labs people have won an Oscar, 2 Grammys, and 3 Emmys. This is true. Science is really cool. And I am absolutely convinced that this is mostly the product of excellent congressional representation. But we are incredibly happy that the Department of Energy has awarded this grant, this prize, to the scientists here to do the work that Secretary Granholm so ably explained. I won't go more into it because she basically, she explained it better than any of us could. But what I will say is that the work being done here is important because it's going to help us, the United States, win the race to a clean energy future. And here in New Jersey, we understand why that's important. In New Jersey, we understand the threat that climate change poses, not because we read a scientific paper, but because we know that climate change means 4 feet of water in your basement. Some of us just experienced that in Hurricane Ida. In other parts of the country, it may be fire, it may be wind, it may be drought. This is real, this is happening right now. But I think it's really important to also understand that this threat comes with an opportunity for American innovation to create the products, to master the technologies that we will then market to the entire world as the world makes this transition alongside us. That is a huge economic opportunity for a state that, as Senator Menendez explained, depends on innovation. I think the second point that I want to make that comes out of the work that we saw is that, of course, private sector companies like Nokia are going to be driving this progress. But the private sector has always relied on government investment, on public investment in basic technologies, in basic research, and sometimes investment in actually jump-starting the applications of those technologies to be successful. Everything from the internet to the global positioning system to electric vehicles all relied in their early stages on taxpayer-funded investments that we decided as public officials would be beneficial to the country and to the world. And that's why we are working now in Congress, in the Senate and in the House, on legislation to double down on that kind of strategy of public investment in American competitiveness. Secretary Granholm talked about the microchip shortage and the need to bring microchip production back to the United States, but it's not just chips. It's the key components of solar panels. It's personal protective equipment and pharmaceutical ingredients. It's lasers. It's all kinds of technologies that we need to be made here in the United States to protect our economic and national security. We cannot be as dependent as we are today on potential adversaries like China or on global supply chains that can be disrupted by anything from a pandemic to a war. So what I did in the House was to write the provisions of what we call the America Competes Act that will, over 5 years, invest over $45 billion to jumpstart, to bring back those supply chains for technologies and goods and materials that we deem to be critical to our economic and national security. This is our next big economic challenge. It's great that we brought the economy back from the COVID crash. It's great that we saved all of those jobs in the last 2 years, but having put out a fire, we now have to fix the foundations of the house. And that requires bringing advanced manufacturing back to America, breaking our dependence on global supply chains, winning the race to master the technologies of the future, including clean energy. That's what the America Competes Act will do. I can't wait to work with Senator Menendez to get that across the finish line to the President's desk so we can make it in America and make it in New Jersey once again. Thank you.